Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. Oh, okay. So, not much happened today in the world of miners as far as news is concerned. We did have Bitcoin going up today, and I do apologize for the water noise you guys might be hearing in the background. My kids are going to take a bath and shower, so I do apologize for that. I need to put in some insulation in this dungeon of my studio. But what do we got going on today? We'll talk about miners, obviously, today. They did pretty good. Bitcoin was up as well, so that was good there. We'll take a look at the latest institutions data that we do have on the miners as of basically like last week. We'll talk about it. It's actually pretty good there. And then we'll look at also the sats per miner as far as how much sats are they generating per shares, things like that as well. We'll get into that also. And then we'll get into the Q&A at the end as always, okay? But we got to go through this as always. Not financial advice for anyone only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that as always. Hit the like button and subscribe as always. So yeah, let's get into what's going on here with Bitcoin really quick. Bitcoin had a good day today. It was up nicely. It definitely bounced here a little bit. It is now battling with the 200 simple day moving average right now. It's acting as resistance for it. So Bitcoin was up today nicely, 5.56%. It closed at 82,914, which was good. It was a nice bounce there. We definitely needed that, and I think what helped was we filled the CME futures gap there, and maybe we can start slowly going back up. But I think there might be some more pain, especially with Trump now ratcheting up the rhetoric against Canada. He wants it to become the 51st state. I think it's crazy. I don't know what the deal is with that, but we're going to have some more pain, I think, happening here in the next couple of weeks, possibly. So be prepared for that, as always. But the miners did pretty good. Markets were down today, also because of everything that's going on. But MicroStrategy was up nicely today. MicroStrategy was up 8.9%. So that one kind of bounced off of its 200 simple day moving average. It's been bouncing off of that here a while, once at least, twice now. We've had it here today as well. So 3 times it bounced off the 200 simple day moving average. Bitfarms was up 2.7 just a little bit here. It's been going basically flat here. It looks like we have some major support here right around $1.06. It looks like $1.07, something like that. BitDeer was up 5.65%. Cypher was up 3.25%. Cleanspark was up a little bit, 3.51%. CORZ was up 7.74%. Hive was up 2.03%. Maybe that one's bottom out here as well a little bit. We'll see. Hut 8 was up 3.48. That one looks like it's kind of a bottom here, at least a recent bottom for it, maybe. IREN was up 6.5%. Mara was the only one that was actually down today. It was down 0.67%. I'm not sure why. It has had a nice little run up here, considering, and then it's had 2 red days going into it, so maybe some profit taken there. Riot was up just a little bit, 2.12% as well. Wolf was up just 3.09%. And then some of the smaller miners were up just a little bit here. Mawson, for some reason, was up quite big today. It was up 23% plus on it. The ETFs were in the green as well, so that's looking pretty good here. Bitcoin dominance is climbing back up. It's at 62% here. I don't know if that's the highest we've been. High was 64% here. Where's that going back? Oh, over here. This was back on February 3rd. But it's climbing back up here. So we got the dominance happening there. Let's take a quick look at the Bitcoin network hash rate really quick as well on that one. We haven't looked at that in a couple of days. Let's see here. Price has been coming down, and we know, but hash rate has been going up on the 7-day. It's up to 820 exahash right now. The 30-day average is still kind of falling down here more or less. It's at 798 right now. So a lot of uncertainty in the miners, and miners don't know which way to go, really. At least some of the ones that are like privately held, the ones that are close to break even and possibly just a little bit under it, are probably debating whether or not to plug in machines and things like that. That's kind of what we're seeing that right now happening on that one. Bitcoin for the month of March right now is just down 1.97%, so it's better than what it was yesterday. I think yesterday was like almost 8% down for the month, so we had a nice little run up here today at least. We'll see if it continues going forward this week. And then let's get into the things that we got to talk about here, which is the first one's going to be on institutions buying on the 1 month and the 6 months differences for these guys. So I look at the differences from 6 months ago and from last month as well, comparison from where they were, and are we seeing shares being added or taken out. But right now, I mean, I'm seeing it not only on the month over month and also on the 6 months difference. So institutions are definitely buying into the miners. So it appears to me like if institutions are buying, is it retail that's selling out? Because based on what I'm seeing here, at least there's a lot of shares being bought up, even recently here, in the market. So Bitcoin's been going down, miners have been going down in price, but institutions have been buying like crazy here. So here's what we have. The first one we're going to take a look at is the shares added from 6 months ago. What's the difference on that? Cypher here came in, it looks like number 1 on that. They've had 138 million shares being bought up here in the last 6 months, followed by Core, 107. And you can see the stock performance from 6 months ago, basically. And we can see that Cypher's only down 7.56%, CORZ down 33. Riot Institutions bought 65 million shares in the last 6 months, and it's up 2.52% from 6 months ago. Marathon, 45 million shares, it's down 18%. Cleanspark Institutions bought 41 million shares, pretty close to what they did for Marathon there, and the stock is down 14% from that time. Bitfarms, 30 million shares were bought, it's down 48%. BitDeer, 18.3 million, and the stock is up actually 44% from 6 months ago. IREN, 16 million shares bought, and it's down 21%. HUT, 10 million shares bought, and it's down 4.96%. And then last but not least, Hive here, 5 million shares bought by institutions, and it's down almost 48% roughly on that one. When we look at the month-over-month difference here, we can see that shares added, Cypher again, the most here in the last month, 121 million shares. That's interesting, right? A lot of institutions might be thinking that they might have a deal there, I'm guessing, for HPC AI potential. Then you got CORZ Scientific having 62 million shares being bought up, Riot 59. Again, Riot probably possible thought there is an HPCI deal of some sort. Marathon 38 million, IREN 32 million, Cleanspark 29 million, Bitfarms 14 million, BitDeer 11, and HUT 8 5 million, and Hive only 1.1 million roughly on that one. And you can see how far the miners are down from last month, basically. It has been great. The best performer here has actually been Bitfarms, only down 12.98% from last month, whereas we have IREN being down the second most, 43%, Cypher being down the most, 44%, and then HUT 8 being down 40% as well, and everybody else somewhere in the middle there on that. Okay, here's the figures for percentage owned by institutions down here. You guys can see that. Core is 90% owned by institutions right now. Cypher 68%, Marathon 65%, HUT 8 62%, Riot 61%, Cleanspark 57%, IREN 54%, Hive 29%, Bitfarms 28%, and BitDeer 22% on that one. So, I mean, it's just amazing that institutions continue to buy into these guys like crazy. And here we are, retail, and we're panicking, we're crying, we're, sobbing in our little dungeon corners or whatever it might be, that the miners are done for and everything else. Why? I mean, unless they get it wrong, is like we might possibly get it wrong, but I don't think so. The only reason I would think that they'd be still buying this is they still see tremendous value in them going forward. Now, you guys can agree or disagree with me on that. So here's some more analysts' high price target load changes. So this is looking at I'm looking at the high price target, so not the average or the low. We're looking at the high price target changes here. Over the last 6 months, things definitely, the miners definitely got an increase or a boost in the analyst price targets for them for the high. The biggest gainer here was BitDeer. It was $22 increase from where they were just 6 months ago. HUT is number 2 spot with $19 increase, followed by Marathon at $16, and then we would have probably Core $4 increase from that, and then we had a couple at $1 and $2 as well on top of it. When we look at it from last month, we do see a little bit of difference here. Now we see a little bit more negative. We got Cypher being down $2, Core, Riot, and Marathon also being down $2, and everybody else being flat by the analyst ratings at least on that. So why are they reducing the figures? I think it could be because of what Bitcoin's at right now, the price action on it being mostly sideways trading, being, oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for there? Basically trading in a pattern more or less, right, with certain highs and lows and being in that. Price also coming down maybe as well, and just the number hash rate going, I think. That's the only reason why I would think that. For those, maybe they went up a little too high on some of these guys, maybe. All right, and that's it. So that's kind of where things are stacking up like right now here. And then here we have the number of institutions in each one of these guys here. You can see that on that. So Marathon has the most, 567 institutions in it right now. Cleanspark 414, I think it's the second biggest one here, followed by CORZ Scientific 412. And then we would probably go down to actually Riot 516 is actually higher than Cleanspark. Second to Marathon there, but HUT 8 would be after that, and then probably like Cypher, IREN, and Bitfarms, Hive, and BitDeer. That's the way it would go on that one. So, like I said, pretty interesting that the institutions are still buying into these guys and buying in quite a lot, especially you can see here on Cypher, especially. Okay. Next, let's take a look at the sats per the miners here, and we look at basically this is stats on the miners. We look at sats mined per share. This is a good way to see how many basically sats are you getting with the shares that you have there in the company. The more shares or the more sats you get per share, I think that's a better value there. Right, so we got Cleanspark coming in at number 1 here with 222 in this current month for February. I think last month they were in the number 2 spot, and we had actually Marathon being in the number 1 spot. But Marathon was down on production a little bit here this past month. That's why they mined less sats per share basically. But IREN's number 2 spot now with 210 sats per share. Marathon 199, Riot 141, CORZ at 70, Hive at 57, Bitfarms at 47, Cypher at 44, and Hut at 41. BitDeer, I don't have them in here because they didn't provide us with the production update yet for February. Okay. When we look at HODL here, you can also take a look at it that way. You can see the Marathon, you're getting about 13,410 sats per share on that. Hut, you're getting 10,939. Riot, 5,625. Cleanspark, 3,980. Hive, 1,686. BitDeer, 438. And this is as of January numbers for them. I don't have the latest number for them there. Cypher, 285. Core, 282. Bitfarms, 281, based on the numbers there. BTC per access efficiency for the month of February here. So this is a combination of all the miners here. We can see Cleanspark came in number 1, IREN number 2, followed by Hive, Riot, Cypher, Bitfarms, Marathon, Core, Hut 8, and BitDeer. We don't have the data for them, so that's kind of where that came in. So just wanted to share that with you guys as always. And I'll probably put this out on X tomorrow, some of these graphs at least. I'll put this out there for everybody to see at that point. But that is it. Tomorrow we'll probably look at the shorted shares on all these guys. I pulled in all that data, except for, I don't have it for, well, I know I do have it for BitDeer as well currently. So that will be included in there as well. And then we'll look at also like BTC hash rate comparison later on this week, also on the miners to see if they actually increase their network percentage or if they decrease that. Did they improve month over month on their percentage of the network hash rate as well? We'll look at all that coming up this week. So that's coming up there. I'm still waiting on, I think the only one that I'm waiting on right now is Bitfarms to provide us with their fiscal year-end numbers, Q4 numbers. Once they do that, then we'll look at all the miners for the quarterly results and do stats on that stuff as well and metrics on it. All right, but that's it. If you guys want access to my spreadsheets, link is down in the description for Patreon membership. You get access to all that regardless of which tier you're a member of. But really appreciate everyone there for the continued support. Definitely helps out in me being able to do this stuff. Right, because it takes time as always, and I make it pretty much available for you guys for a couple of dollars, which is a really, really good deal for you guys. All right, that's it. That's my sales pitch. Let's get into Q&A side of things here. So, would you guys have any thoughts, questions on? As always, it's going to take me a little while to go through all the questions, so be patient. I will get through them all. And if you'd also preface the question with a question mark or a Q, I'm going to scroll my way up a little bit here, so we can find some questions, and then we'll work our way down. All right, let's see. We got quite a few guys in here already. Let's see. CORZ says low efficiency miners aren't going to survive if BTC goes down lower. They can still survive because a lot of these guys still have ATMs that they can pull on or have a really good balance sheet for the time being. You know, with Bitcoin being on the balance sheet there, or just cash in general. So I think they're going to be fine for a while. Now, if it goes into a prolonged period where things are going down, that's going to be a little bit tougher, but they can still survive. I mean, they survived the bear market in 2022, right? A lot of these guys were in trouble at that point. They had to sell Bitcoin to cover their losses for loans that were backed by Bitcoin. If they survived that, I think they can survive this here as well. See, CORZ says, I think the sell-off is mostly retail. Smart money isn't leaving this space. That's kind of what it looks like to me right now as well. So it's interesting that, like what we saw on the institution side of things, that they're still continuing to buy and buy. They're buying quite a bit as well. All right. And A. says, is Cleanspark a safer bet than Mara, or is it the other way around? Depending what you mean safer. If you're talking about just the number of Bitcoins they have on balance sheets, their current cash on hand and all that stuff, you'd have to take out the debt on all these guys. I think they're pretty equal. With that respect on things. So it's tough. Cleanspark definitely has a big hodl, but Marathon has a much bigger hodl, but they also have more, well, you could say debt because of that with convertible notes. That's going to be coming up due for them in a couple of years. That's going to have to be accounted for as well. So I think it's kind of split between the two right now. I think they're both kind of equal. Okay, let's see. Question, Senator Loomis is hyping the Bitcoin Act again, and she has co-sponsors now. I heard Trump will execute members of Congress who vote against it. Bad idea. Yeah, I mean, you can't execute anybody. But yeah, there's definitely more appetite for it now. There's also more support for it. She also, I believe, has a Democrat on board for that as well. So that's good if we can get it bipartisan bill. I think that would be great. So we'll have to wait and see if that goes through. I think it will, but it's going to take some time, I think. When you see institutions buys, those are usually retail bags as well. 13F filings include retail holdings that were bought through major holdings. Yeah, so if you're buying into ETFs or if you're buying into some other things, like some of those vehicles as well, and that could be part of it as well. Okay. BB question here. Does institutional ownership include both longs and shorts? If so, what's the breakdown per miner and delta over the short, medium, and long-term timeframes and long-short ratios? Thanks for all you do stuff. That, I don't have the data on that. I do have the data just on the institutions. I don't know if it's long, medium, or timeframes. We do have the short data as well, but that's separate. Maybe from that you can digest that kind of information from it. I'm not sure. Okay. Yellow Gambler asks a question here. Does the U.S. government want a recession to manage its debt? It does appear that way. Right? Trump has come out saying that it might be, we might be on some hard times. I'm paraphrasing here more or less, not quoting him. So something to be prepared for. I think their goal is to bring down the U.S. dollar a little bit, bring down the economy as well. Maybe have a little bit of a recession here to get the Fed to start cutting rates. At that point, they would like to refinance the debt that they do have there. It's a lot of debt. They need to refinance, and we need to pay that debt off as fast as possible, I think. So that might be the case there. At least a lot of people are thinking that. Let's see here. Midwest Thailand says, I'm done with these miners. I just need them to pass the no overtime tax so I can try to make my money back. Okay. All right. What is your price target for IREN this cycle? I think that's going to be dependent on Bitcoin, right? But I think if Bitcoin goes up nicely for us, 200,000 by the end of the year or something like that, if that still happens. Right now, based on just the short time frame, it's painful to think that Bitcoin could go that high, right? But I still think it can on a longer time frame. So if we get down to like 200,000 at that point, I think it still should be able to get, I mean, where's it at now? Like $7 something. From here, I mean, it should at least get to like $20 or something like that, if not higher than that, depending on how things go for them. But they should be generating more revenue. They're getting to 50 exahash. If they get an HPCI deal as well, that could improve it as well. But I'm saying like the bare minimum, I think they should do at least, somewhere around $20 at this point. But they could definitely go up higher depending on the appetite of the investors and everything else, the economy. Do we have the money printer going burr or not? Okay. So your high question, why aren't any of the big institutional holders like BlackRock, Vanguard, or Morgan Stanley and BitDeer? I think the main reason there is BitDeer is not a U.S. domiciled company, I think. That's one of the main reasons I think that that's the case. And yeah, I think that, I'll just leave it at that. I think that's the case. CK, why didn't it pop up? There it is. CK asks a question here. We are in extreme fear as per fear and greed index. Last time when it was this low, did miners pump after that? Eventually they do, but we could be in a fear and greed situation for a little bit. So that's not uncommon there as well. All right. Is Mara a good buy for a long-term hold? Define long-term. If you're saying for the next couple of months, 6 to 9 months, I would say possibly yes, as long as Bitcoin goes up. If we have a bear market next year, like we would historically have, then I would say no, you don't want to hold it for longer than that. Buy it and get out at the pump, right? But if we have an extended cycle, then things might change for us a little bit. We have never been through an extended cycle on Bitcoin. What would that mean actually for the miners as well at that point? I don't know. When we go through it, we'll find out, I guess. Let's see, follow-up question. So increasing institutional ownership is purely long shares, excludes shares shorted. I believe so, yes. I'm getting the data from Webull, the desktop app that I use for that. So I'm getting that. They have institutions separate from shorts, I believe. Okay, let's see here. Fred Red says, I've been a Patreon follower for the year. Best money I've ever spent. Come in every day. Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you. I wish I had more time to talk to you guys on the Discord private server that we have there as well. It's just work and everything else. I'll try to chime in, and when I see my name pop up or something like that, or if something's going on, I'll provide you guys with some links there as well. So that's always fun to do. Let's see. Mark H says, shorts don't own stock. They sell without buying, so they don't have an ownership position. Thus, they are not shown with this. Okay, that makes sense there, yeah. All right. Do you expect Bitfarms to announce a U.S. re-domicile when they merge with Stronghold? I don't know. Ben has talked about it on Anthony's and Bryce's channel. He was asked that question from them, and he said it would take like 6 months to a year for them to redo all of their financial reports going back to basically when they became public miner. So I don't know. It seems like they're hesitant to do that, but there is a possibility that they would do that. But I guess it would be costly for them to do it as well. So it's kind of like you have to weigh the positives of doing it and the negatives, right? So I think the positives there would be for them to have more possibly institutional investment, things like that. A lot of more money is in the United States markets and things like that, and that might be a good thing. So if you spend, I don't know, $1 million to get that done, whatever it might be, could you recoup that with the price going up and the shares being valued properly and things like that? Maybe. So I think that's definitely a possibility there. Let's see. I have IREN, Cleanspark, and Mara. Very nice. I got IREN, Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and Mara as well right now. Still holding on to those guys here. All right. That was pretty easy. I don't see any more questions. If you guys don't have any more questions, we'll call it a day. We're going on just a little over 22 minutes. Probably going to be the shortest stream that we've had in a long time. But yeah, I mean, Bitcoin right now is down a little bit here. It's down 0.53%, 0.54. It's at 82,000. You know, we'll see where it goes on that one. I still think, I mean, it has really become so dependent on what Trump says right now in the markets and everything else. We will have to wait what happens with the trade wars that he's waging there. That might be something that drives us more down. But as long as we stay above like 69,000, I think we're still going to be okay. But so be prepared for that. If that does happen where we do go down to 69,000, where we do have some support there on the longer time frame at least. But if it doesn't happen, I'll be happy with that, right? If we continue to go back up from here, things subside with tariffs, things like that, they get things worked out, deals struck, whatever it might be. You just never know. Things are just so fluid in this space right now with all that's happening. Anything can change in, you know, half an hour to an hour even, let alone a day or a week. So be prepared just in case, but be positive as well if you can. And we'll plow through this as always. All right, let's see, got a couple more here. Okay, as of now, as miners are undervalued, if Bitcoin fails 50%, will miners fall more than 50%? Oh yeah, if Bitcoin falls 50%, the miners are going down, you know, another 70%, 80% at this point. How has your viewership been? Viewership has been actually pretty steady. I get somewhere between like 2,000 and 3,000 views on these videos, so that's been kind of steady there. The only thing I've noticed is like a decline actually in the number of subscribers to the channel. I saw just recently here, just like in the last week, I've seen actually a decrease happening where before it was getting 4 or 5, you know, additional subscribers to the channel over, I think it's a week's time, something like that. So I'm seeing that. So I think people are definitely capitulating here, not only in Bitcoin miners, but also in these types of channels where we talk about this stuff here. I've seen it also in the Patreon membership, right? People are trying to save money, so they're canceling the memberships. I completely understand there. I don't fault anybody for doing that. But yeah, so I'm seeing that a little bit as well. And I understand that it all depends where Bitcoin goes, right? Bitcoin goes parabolic, everybody's joyful, they're willing to spend some money to get some data insights and things like that. When things go down the opposite way, well, we see a pullback in people, right? They start to kind of hold on to their cash a little bit more. So it's completely normal, I think, and completely understandable. All right. Do you think the recent inverse relationship between the BTC price and total network hash rate is bullish? Trying to think. Okay. So you're talking about the network hash rate being basically flat, more or less. Bitcoin has been coming down. I do think so, because historically, as the Bitcoin network hash rate goes up, the price follows that usually. Sometimes there's a lag in it, but yeah. Right. Question here, would the big BTC miners die if we go into a BTC bear market? No, they would not die completely. They would definitely be valued much lower than where we are right now, even so, but they would not die, right? A lot of these guys, like I said, maybe 10 minutes ago or something like that, from one of the other questions was, they have a lot of cash. They still have a lot of BTC that they're hodling right now. They could always convert that if they needed to, but they also have ATMs that they could pull on. So no, they would not, completely die. We need the miners there to secure the network. So what is the target price for Wolf and Cypher this cycle? Why are these two dropping more than others? They've also had probably the best gains here in the last, I would say, second half of last year at least, right? So that's possibly why. Wolf also stopped providing their monthly production updates as of, was it January or February? I can't remember, as of January. So we're not getting the data there for them as far as how they're doing with the Bitcoin mining side of things. So it's a little tougher to see where they could be in price. We do know that they have a deal there that's with code for Core 42 for, what is it, 5 years, 7 years? I can't remember now what the amount is, but it's a pretty good deal there for them. It could be worth a lot more, right, if they build it out even further. So I'm not sure. Cypher has more growth going into the second half of 2025 and into 2026. They're also working on trying to get a HPCI deal. If they get the deal, I think that would be great for them. So I think they could definitely do much better than where they are right now. But exactly where I think they could be, I mean, I'm seeing them right now on my sheet at least, currently where they should be valued at and where they are right now. Let me see here. Cypher, here we go. Go back here. Cypher, if we use February figures, right, times 12 months, we get them to about 504 to 756. They're at 318. I think they're undervalued based on that. But then if they grow nicely here, Bitcoin goes up in value and they get an HPCI deal, they could definitely do, 2 to 3x on top of this. So somewhere around there is where I would think. Wolf, like I said, I don't track them anymore because they stopped providing their monthly updates for us. All right, go back here. All right, see, you're sorry for you, but that I actually take that as a good sign. With the decrease, yeah, it's capitulation, right? We're seeing capitulation with investors in this space. I think that's kind of what you're referring to, more or less. Yeah, I would agree. That might be a good sign there. If you look at the positive, I guess that would be it. All right, I'd be pretty bullish if Bitfarms announces the acquisition and redomiciles at the same time. Yeah, that would be actually really good news there if they did that. Right, we're supposed to get the purchase of Stronghold still this month. They said it's going to happen in Q1, so we got basically, 3 weeks left in here? We need to see that get done. See, question, is 83,000 going to be a strong resistance level? The seeming gap to the upside will help. 83,000, there's not much support here. The resistance that we're seeing here is mainly on the 200 simple day moving average, I believe. If we look at it here, here's Bitcoin, and then here's that 200 simple day moving average. That's acting as resistance right now. That's at 83,500, something like that. And then the gap being filled, I think that was good on the CME futures, right? We saw that get filled here yesterday, right? So we went actually below it. I like seeing that. We also bounced off the 200 simple day moving average on the CME futures. That might be a good catalyst. I mean, we've bounced off of that before as well in the past. We blew past it a little bit a couple of times, but we've historically kind of bounced off of it. So that might be a good sign there for us. Time will tell, as always. Let's see, talked about that. Let's see. If MicroStrategy stops buying Bitcoin, we are all in trouble. MicroStrategy is not going to be stopping to buy Bitcoin anytime soon here. They're working on a, 21, 22 billion ATM that they're working on right now. So as soon as they get that approved and through, Strategy is going to be buying like crazy here. Let's see. All right. Sadie, you're very welcome. Neil says Riot's a buy. Harrison has a question. When you are reporting institutions, investors as up, just know that it means majority retail holders as well. Yeah, we talked about that. I think majority retail also, yeah. Yep, that's part of it. Okay, cut up to all you guys' questions. We're at 10 o'clock. We're in half an hour on this. Let's call it a day. Let's get some rest, prepare for the next day, see what we get. Oh, tomorrow. Let me see if I got the data on this. Let me see. Where's my date thing here? See if it's popped up properly. Let's take a look at it here. We got the CPI data coming out tomorrow, I believe. Right? Earnings Wednesday. Where's that popping up here? Economic primary countries, G20. I don't care about the G20. I care about the United States. Apply. Okay. Well, it's not populating. Why? Dividends, I don't care. There we go. Economic, there it is. Okay. So we do have, let me see, bonds, trade, prices, money, labor, housing, health, GDP, business. Okay. Well, we'll do it as that. Okay, here we go. Core inflation, right? So we got that happening tomorrow at 7:30. We got the JOLTS job openings as well. PPI as well. Michigan consumer sentiment. Then I believe we have on Wednesday it's just that FOMC meeting, I believe, is on Wednesday, right? If I'm not mistaken, is that Wednesday or Thursday? Economic 17. I know the FOMC is supposed to be meeting. Why isn't that showing up here? I'm not seeing it here. PPI, that's Wednesday. Thursday, Michigan, Friday. I thought the FOMC was meeting. No, it's the following week, right? Isn't it after that? I believe it's the following week that the FOMC is meeting. Tuesday, when is it? Wednesday. Or maybe I'm wrong. Oh, there it is. FOMC economic projections. There we go. Fed interest rates decision. There it is. Yeah. Okay, so it's next week on Wednesday the 19th. So CPI data tomorrow. Then we'll get into what happens with that. We'll get into also the FOMC meeting the following week as well. We'll look at other charts and metrics on the miners as well as they do come in, as the miners report as well. So a lot to still go over. A lot of things are happening. I'm hoping the CPI data is actually pretty good tomorrow, where hopefully inflation is going down on things. But we will see. So it'll be interesting to see what that comes out as. Okay? But that's it. As always, thank you so much for coming in. Love you guys. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday night. We'll see. Hopefully we have a good Wednesday as well with CPI data coming in good. But we will see. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then.